Guys, welcome to Relax Running. Tyson Popplestone here. Now, when it comes to running performance, often you and I and everyone else is looking for the really sciencey, sophisticated way to see running performance improvements take place. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is sometimes it can be overwhelming, and as a result, we completely ignore the simple changes that we can make to our running, which is going to see some radical improvements in our performance. And that is exactly what I want to look at in today's video, how we can get you running faster with some simple little changes to your training routine. Just before we do get into today's video, I'm excited to let you know that we've recently partnered with Pillar Performance, a micronutrition brand which is focused on getting you, I, and the endurance world to the start line ready to race. They've partnered with the likes of Eliud Kipchoge and a number of other elite athletes in the world of endurance sport. If you haven't heard of them or you'd like to find out more, you'd like to get 15% off your first order, hit the link in the description to this video using the coupon code in the description to this video to get that 15% discount. But for now, let's jump into a couple of simple changes that you and I can make to our own running to see some radical improvements. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is technique. This is often an overlooked element of running performance. Now, here at Relax Running, perhaps the name gives it away, we have a real focus on making sure that we're relaxed when we're out there doing what we do best. But in saying that, part of becoming relaxed in your running is figuring out where the tension points in your running actually are. The truth is, every single athlete on the planet at various points of a hard workout, whether it's due to the stress of the workout or the competition, the effort levels or fatigue levels in that particular workout or race, has a point where tension begins to build. You'll often see it through the jaw, through the neck, through the shoulders, through the arms, the hands, and even through the back. The problem with tension is it's a misuse of energy. When there's tension in the body has to work harder to actually absorb the oxygen that you're breathing in. Do this right now. I mean, squeeze your shoulders back, tense your neck, your arms, and try and take a deep breath. You don't have to be a genius to see that there's some real difficulty getting in a good breath when you feel this tension. Your first task when it comes to technique is simply to identify where it is that you store the tension. A lot of runners never take this first step, and as a result, they can't alleviate it when they notice it. This is a very broad stroke of the brush, so if you'd like me to get into some more detail, make sure you check out the videos on technique linked in the description to this video. But take that first step of identifying and with a breath, alleviating that tension when you notice it creep in to your running. The second thing that you want to have a big focus on is zone 2 heart rate training. Now, why is this important? Zone 2 heart rate training, it's a lot lower intensity style of training, which takes up around 80 to 90% of your endurance training week. The reason this is beneficial is because while it still works on your aerobic and cardiovascular fitness, it doesn't tax your body like a really intense running session does. Now, there's a number of ways you can figure out what your zone 2 heart rate is with some generic online tests, or going to get a lactate threshold test, or you could take a really simple approach and just run at a pace where you can maintain a really comfortable conversation. If you're running at a pace where it feels really difficult to maintain conversation, you're probably running at a pace which is faster than you should be for that particular run. Now, the beauty with this is when you're focused on developing the aerobic cardiovascular fitness through these zone 2 style runs, you're not taking so much out of your body, so that when you get to your actual hard sessions, you're not going to be as fatigued and as running to the ground. So you can hit those hard sessions at a far more effective level. The likes of Mark Allen, 6-time Ironman world champion, spoke about this in a recent podcast and spoke about the benefits that it had on his own running performance. One thing that will surprise you if you are taking note on the data of your heart rate, starting at a particular heart rate which suggests that you're in zone 2, you'll notice that the pace you initially start running will be incredibly slow. If you stick to this for the course of a couple of months, you're going to start to notice that while your heart rate stays at that same level, the speed at which you're able to run increases, which in the name of endurance sport is the whole focus of the game. Give this a go if you haven't already. If you've got any questions around that, make sure you let me know in the comments below. The third thing I want to talk about today is breaking up your week with some more intense running sessions. Now, depending on the actual event that you're training for is going to dictate exactly what this looks like. But while we do around 80 to 90% of our running at zone 2 heart rate, there's another little portion of our week which should be dedicated to that higher level zones of heart rate training. This is that real race simulation. It's the stuff that really trains your lungs, your heart, your body to work together to navigate the difficulties that come up as you're working really hard. Now, it's really hard to give specific advice on what this session should look like, given that I don't know exactly what it is that you're training for. But a lot of these style sessions are going to be reps done at a slightly faster than race pace effort. For example, if you're training for a half marathon, 10K, one common session once a week might be 8 times 1K at around about your 10K race pace with a 60-second recovery. Not only are you going to learn to navigate the difficulties that come up throughout the course of a session like this, you're also going to be given the opportunity to learn to develop an understanding of where that tension is storing and how it is that we can release it, so that when we get to race day and experience this, it's not such a shock. As I said, if you've got any questions around how to structure this more specifically for your event, make sure you let us know in the comments below. The last thing I want to talk about, which is often unfortunately overlooked, is the benefit of recovery. Now, recovery takes forms in a variety of ways. For some of us, it's a rest day. For some of us, it's a massage. For some of us, it's cross-training. You've got to get some time off your feet. Now, depending on how long you've been training for is going to dictate how your recovery days actually look. For an elite runner, maybe they like to go out and turn their legs over for 30 to 60 minutes at a relatively easy pace. If you're relatively new to the sport and you're looking at recovery and you're only running 3 to 4 days a week, perhaps one of those off days might be a light cross-training session on the bike or in the pool, just to take some of that weight off your legs, give your joints, your muscles, your bones a chance to absorb what it is that you've been throwing into it. A lot of us in the endurance training world are very good at committing to the really hard work, but when it comes to actually taking some downtime to allow that hard work to be absorbed, we really struggle with that. You can find some massive improvements in your own running performance and consistency, which in distance running is crucial, simply through being able to recognize when you should take a recovery day and how you get the most out of your down days. In a sport like distance running, there are so many different facets of simple changes that we can make to see improvements in our running performance. These were just a few. If you'd like to add anything which has been really beneficial to your own running performance improvement, make sure you let us know in the comments below. If you want more from Relaxed Running, coaching, training programs, or any other questions, jump over to relaxedrunning.com to find out more. Happy training, guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you all again next week.